Good evening and welcome to Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. My name is Beatrice.
And I am Alfred, Ocansey.
The news is also live on Ocansey 107.1 FM and across the world at 3news.com. On Facebook, we're streaming live on 3FM 92.7. Coming up in the next 1.5 hours. Tonight, National Peace Council rejects opposition's accusation of inactivity and failing to address their grievances as NDC insists they will not be part of any peace pact ahead of the December polls.
Also this evening, Member of Parliament for the Ningo Pram constituency, Samuel Nate George, is set to lead a protest against the Chief Justice over indefinite adjournment of the anti-LGBTQ plus bail case, as he describes the actions of the Chief Justice as capricious, arbitrary and malicious.
We'll tell you more about this as he demands a timetable for the hearing of the case. Also tonight, Peasant Farmers Association alleges government planting for food and jobs flagship program has been politicized to the detriment of needy farmers.
Later on your election command center campaign trail, political campaigning gathers momentum with less than 4 months to the general elections. We'll tell you what the parties are up to in the battle to win the hearts and minds of electorates, as both the NDC and NPP have communicated dates for the launch of their manifestos. We'll tell you here on your election command center. More of it this evening.
All of these plus business and sports in the next 1.5 hours. But for now, Safwa Boahene is here with the summary of the news. Safwa.
Thank you, Beatrice. And on to our first story, Minority Chief Whip Kwame Govins Abuja has warned that anyone who attempts to rig the 2024 general election will face severe consequences. He advised Abetifi lawmaker Brian Ichampon not to create trouble in the upcoming elections. Also, New Patriotic Party NPP running mate Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempe has entreated residents of Ashanti region to support the NPP leader. Speaking to party supporters, he called on them to throw the weight behind the aspiring MP Nana Ejay Bafo Ewa. We also have Minister of State in charge of the Energy Ministry, Herbert Krapa, has revealed that debts owed to independent power producers, IPPS, have been renegotiated. He noted that the debts have been divided into current debts, which are being handled by the ECG, and legacy debts being managed by the Finance Ministry. And lastly, regarding power supply issues, Managing Director of the Electricity Company of Ghana, Dubik Mahama, stated that the new meters being installed across the country are much more accurate than the old ones and will provide more reliable readings. And this brings us to the end of the news summary. Thank you and over.
Thank you very much, Safwa Boahene. Let's start off from here. And the Peace Council has expressed concerns over what it says is a trend of political parties failing to use its laid down structures to raise concerns, but always accusing the council of inactivity. This is in reaction to the NDC's public declaration that it will not sign a peace pact ahead of this year's polls. The peace pact that heralds the election cycle may be without the participation of the opposition NDC this year. This is because the party's national chairman, Johnson Asiedun Katia, says such pacts are not effective. He wants those who call for the signing to rather be proactive and speak up when issues that have the potential to result in violence occur. Listen.
At any stage, when something is happening, I call on those who in future will call us to sign declaration to speak up so that we stop this particular thing from happening. Otherwise, if you allow all those things to build up, and you say that, let us go and play peace football match, let us sign declaration, let us do this with the hope that we will get a peaceful election. Peaceful election will not happen because we did all this in 2020, all this and more in 2020. Council of State, Peace Council, everybody was involved, signing declarations left, right, center. The 2020 election turned out to be the most violent elections in the whole of the Fourth Republic.
So this year, not signing.
So it tells you that signing or no signing is not the issue. What we have to talk about is the building blocks that will create the violence.
And you heard that the chairman of the opposition NDC, Johnson Asiedu Nkatia, in that interview with Joy News earlier. Now, the National Peace Council is not happy about the NDC's position. The chairman, Reverend Dr. Ernest Adijemfi, says that the parties must take advantage of its meetings with the council to raise such issues.
They themselves agreed that they will police their own people, what they say, how they say it, and all of those things. While they are in a meeting, their people will call us and ask, what is the Peace Council saying? You are a member of that committee. What do you expect from us again? It's difficult to see all these things going on consistently. Peace Council is being blamed left and right. When we are all in the meeting, let your representatives who come to those meetings go back and report. What was it that we discussed? What did we agree on? What are the things that you sign up to?
Reverend Dr. Ernest Adijemfi also maintains that the allegations of inaction have no basis.
But over 700 stations, people are listening to different things. And so the accusation will continue. For us, we know what we've done. 2 days ago, when a very high-level meeting represented by these two big parties, top-level people, the issue about recruitment, the issue about all these things that are in the news today, I discussed 2 days ago, cleared the air. The defense minister cleared the air. All these things have been done.
And you heard the chairman of the National Peace Council, Reverend Dr. Ernest Adijemfi. Well, governance analyst Professor Ali Dusedu says that the Peace Council must be proactive.
National Peace Council has been doing a lot over the years, but they have tend to be more reactive rather than proactive. People who of repute recognition in this country, making utterances to the fact that they will win the elections at all costs, they will hand over power. All these statements create tension in the country. Have you heard the MPC come out to condemn these statements? So if we don't do this, then the other side react. Then we are building tension towards the major election.
And you heard governance analyst Professor Ali Dusedu there. Now, it's unclear whether the NDC will back down on its decision not to participate in this symbolic peace signing ceremony. And we're joined by Deputy General Secretary of the party, Mustafa Gbande. Good evening to you, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
We've heard the chairman of your party. We've also heard the explanation from the Peace Council. With this explanation coming through, is the party going to rescind its decision not to participate in the Peace Pact, the signing of it ahead of the general election?
Thank you very much. As far as I'm concerned, that this decision is not one that we say that is subject to convenience. We are in a very crucial period where we are heading to an election. In fact, there cannot be peace without justice, and there cannot be peace when the fundamental rule of law and respect of fundamental human rights are not fully respected. We have laws that regulate elections. We have institutions of state that are supposed to ensure that we have peace. The Peace Council's responsibility is to see to it that these institutions are discharging their functions. You can bring Jesus Christ to come and be the chairman of Peace Council, but if the institutions are not working, we cannot have peace. Where we sit today, it is not just ordinary people who are threatening the peace of our country. It is elements within the ruling government who are threatening to rig election, threatening not to hand over, and all of that. So to sign a peace accord, when you know that a Peace Council itself have reneged its responsibility of ensuring that we champion a peace process, it's a waste of time. The Peace Council only gain their voice when MPP is in the wrong. Then they come to defend it. The Peace Council does not become parent when the NDC is in trouble. It is when the NDC is condemning the MPP, then the Peace Council will suddenly gain its voice. And for us, we think that that is a bias, and that shouldn't be the mark of a Peace Council. Now again.
Please go ahead.
Yes. Now we have a process where today, as we speak, the Electoral Commission is the mandated institution to regulate this election. We cannot, dismiss the rules that regulate that election and be talking about peace. The Electoral Commission is in clear violation of its own laws. It is required to provide, a voters register, provisional voter register to all political parties ahead of voter exhibition. We have 7 days more to go. The Electoral Commission have not done that. We have done registration. The Electoral Commission was required by law to publish the figures of the registration. They have not done so. So why are we talking about peace when the commission that is supposed to mandate, that is supposed to ensure that there's a peaceful, transparent, credible processes leading to elections are not being done? So we believe that this peace accord is again a tea party being summoned by the Peace Council. And we're not going to waste time. The time we'll sit there signing peace pipe, we would rather be working hard to ensure that we are able to protect our interests as far as the elections are concerned.
Mr. Gbande, and that is the problem the Peace Council has with political parties like yourself, the NDC. You're accusing the Peace Council of reneging its responsibility. Meanwhile, the Peace Council says that we've been having meetings with you. In fact, this afternoon when we spoke to the chairman of the council, Reverend Dr. Ernest Edujemfi, a part of it we played today, he said that the parties were in a committee that you had formed, and so you come to the meetings and then you don't trickle down the information to your people and you tell us a different story.
How is a political party going to be singing the kind of song the Peace Council chairman sings that when it comes to the people that were killed, the IGP came to explain? Must you be explaining criminal processes? They have killed people. The Peace Council's duty is to see that there are proper investigations and then justice is still being done. That is not the case. People have been killed. And you are talking about explaining what? How is the national chairman or the general secretary of the party or the flag bearer going to explain to families who have lost their children in an election that the Peace Council is explaining? When Brianna Champo made these very explosive comments over the weekend, I would want to see a very serious Peace Council knocking at the doors of Ghana Police Service to analyze the content of it and bring justice to bear. They are not doing that. You are running around the fire and calling political parties for tea party when there is a crucial election and that election is being threatened by government, and you are calling political parties to come and do what?
Mr. Gbande,
they should go out there and invite government to say that what Brianna Champo said, what the president himself said, threatens the democracy of this country, threatens our peace and stability. The fact that the Electoral Commission is violating the laws of the election is threatening enough for the Peace Council to step in.
We'll go to the EC bit, but you don't think that the NDC has taken a stance of accusing everybody else except itself? You're accusing the governing MPP, you're accusing the Electoral Commission, now you're accusing the arbiter who would actually ensure that something good happens whenever there's an issue between you and even the Electoral Commission. You don't think that the NDC probably is also doing something that it needs to possibly take time to listen to other sides of the story?
How are you going to listen to when innocent people are being killed?
That's in 2020.
What are you going to listen to when an electoral law is being violated by the commission that is supposed to be enforcing the law? And I just told you that the commission was required to provide provisional register ahead of exhibition. We have 7 days to go. We don't have that document.
We have spoken to the Director of Training at the Electoral Commission, Sribo Kweku, who has made it clear to us, and I'm sure you're aware of this, that after compilation of voters register, you need 30 days before you provide it. And the EC's argument is that we are within time. And it's better to get accurate documents.
They are 30 days start counting from after the mop-up, or they are 30 days start counting and start counting after we finish the main registration, which is weak. You cannot use the mop-up as a period. So are they saying that by next week that we are going to do exhibition, they would have been within time to provide provisional register for political parties to analyze? Is that what they are saying? So I'm just saying that for peace to prevail, the institutions within what makes peace to prevail must be seen doing their work. Those institutions include the police service. What role are they going to play in this election? How are we differentiating the role of the police? How are we differentiating the role of the military and the role of national security? What is the Electoral Commission actually doing to ensure that we have a transparent election? What are the do's and don'ts of political parties? These roadmaps should be clearly known by the media, known to the public, so that it's a public knowledge. We all know what we are supposed to do and what we are not supposed to do. The Peace Council should not be gaining its voice when issues are just rhetoric. There are bigger issues, real issues that the Peace Council have run away. They are on the record to have run away. In 2020, when we did the general election and people were killed, the Peace Council suddenly lost its voice. The institution lost its meaning. It was not in existence to speak to these innocent people who were killed by President Akufo-Addo and his hoodlums. Are they saying they are doing their work? So the NDC is just not accusing institutions. We are sticking to the issues, hoping that the system should be working. There should be straight rules so that we can all obey those rules. Then we can guarantee a peace process. But to sign a peace accord that is opaque, a peace accord that is vague, a peace accord without commitment amounts to nothing. And NDC doesn't want to waste its time. It's better for us to be preparing for the election than to be sitting in the rooms signing a peace accord with people who are all over the place threatening us ahead of the election.
Mr. Bande, what is the NDC's commitments to peace? Because I remember that at the launch of the party's campaign in Tamale, your General Secretary, your boss, Fifi Kwete, asked everybody else, including the Peace Council, to ensure that their actions and inactions were helping towards peace. What is the party's commitment to peace?
You have quoted it rightly. The national chairman has spoken about it. The flag bearer have spoken about it. The general secretary has spoken about it. The NDC is on record to be victims because we uphold peace processes. That is why we are victims today. We have only come to the point where we say that, look, we are going into an election clearly in our mind, and the rank and file must be willing to defend every vote, must be willing to ensure that we don't come out as casualties, whereby people are killed and they don't even get justice. That is the commitment that we have to peace. Peace is not without justice. And when justice prevails, everyone will be at peace. But in the absence of justice, you cannot be talking about peace.
The import of the question is that you're asking everybody else to show a level or some signs of commitment, but you're refusing to do that.
I would have asked my party people to be more vigilant and to be willing to defend themselves in the presence of anything that threatens them. That is what I would say.
We'll have to end it here. Thank you very much, Mustafa Bande. He's Deputy General Secretary for the Opposition in DC.
Let's go on to some of the stories as the Minority Chief Whip and Member of Parliament for the Adaklo constituency, Governs Kwame Agboja, has issued a stern warning to the Member of Parliament for the Abetifi constituency. Also, it was a great Minister Brian Champon regarding any attempts to manipulate the upcoming 2024 general elections. Speaking at an event in Adaklo with the NDC flag bearer John Dramani Mahama and the Voter Region Tour, Governs Kwame Agboja emphasized that the opposition will not tolerate any action that could compromise the integrity of the elections process. He recalled the violence that marred the 2020 elections, which resulted in 8 persons, also fatalities, and stressed that such incidents must not be repeated in the forthcoming elections. Let's hear from exactly what Governs Kwame Agboja said, and we'll get some reactions to it shortly. Would recall that shortly and also hear from Governs Kwame Agboja. But if you go on our Facebook page at 3FM927, you'd get to see exactly what's happening and the reactions to this particular statement that was made by Governs Kwame Agboja earlier today. And this one we'll keep an eye on as well, and we'll bring you a lot more here on your election command center. But the ruling New Patriotic Party has begun a massive campaign drive in the Ashanti region, with the regional executives being led by the regional chair, Bernard Ntwi-Boesiako, to visit some homes of prospective voters, even at all times, to convince them to vote for the MPP. Now, the exercise, which has already started and it appears to be first of its kind, aimed at improving votes of the MPP in its stronghold. William Evans Inkum, Sir Northern Bureau Chief, is joining us in the studio. Quick conversation on this. This is a novelty, you're saying, that the political campaigning in the region?
Well, maybe a novelty for the ruling New Patriotic Party, because in 2008, we know that the NDC activated a similar exercise. And of course, even going into the Kumawu by-election, I saw similar exercise being conducted by the National Democratic Congress. So for the MPP, it appears to be a novelty as far as the Ashanti Regional Executives of the ruling administration is concerned.
I see. And how, you know the political landscape in that region like the back of your hand. How effective will this be, especially because, as you do know, it's a stronghold of the party, but then again, the underlying issues are there. And reason why, as you've always indicated, Dr. Matthew Poku-Prempeh was elected. But will this new strategy also help in galvanizing the base, as has been the expectation of the party?
Well, absolutely. If you recall, not too long ago, the chief scribe of the party made an explosive statement on social media after his tour of the Bono region, saying that some appointees have lost touch with the base. The Ashanti region, I quite remember last Saturday or Sunday, I had an interview with him, and it appears that the picture is not too different as far as the Ashanti region is concerned. So they just want to move away from that flamboyant style of campaign where sometimes people are even bussed to the campaign grounds and then get to the ground. I mean, door-to-door campaign, have an interaction with the people on the ground, just to be sure whether the party has that strong footing going into the December elections. Look, there are a number of concerns emanating from the Ashanti region. One has to do with the uncompleted monumental project in the Ashanti region. They try to compare that to part of the Eastern region and Greater Accra region, for instance, interchanges and what have you. Then hospitals. People want to get answers. People want to know why they should continue to vote for the ruling New Patriotic Party. And mind you, if you take the 2020 results in some selected constituencies now, and for the purpose of this particular conversation, I just want us to center around Asante Achem South, Asante Achem Central, and Bosome Frem constituent. The reason being that today, the running mate of the MPP, Dr. Matthew Poku-Prempeh, together with Bernard Nchibu-Siakon, have been very strong visiting these constituencies. And if you look at Asante Achem South constituencies in 2016,
that's right. If for those listening, if you can go on our Facebook page at 3FM927, we're displaying the declining trends of the Ashanti region votes for the NPP in specific constituencies. And William, your focus is on the Asante Achem South constituency. Yes, they won that constituency. But why do you see the trend of a decline? All right, so if you look at nominal figures, 33,757 in 2016, and that of 2020, 35,516, you might be deceived. Right. Let's talk about the percentage. So in 2016, presidential in the Asante Achem South constituency, MPP had 68.32%. In 2020, it dropped to 65.27%. NDC, on the other hand, had 30.96% in 2016. They appreciated their gains from 30 to 33.73%. Right. Now, if you go to Asante Achem Central, the MPP had, in percentage, 2016, it was 79%. 2020, it dropped to 73%. The NDC, on the other hand, had 20.39% in 2016. They appreciated to 25.81%. Bosome Frem constituency, presidential, NDC in 2016, MPP in 2016 had 79.16%. In 2020, it dropped to 76.63%. Then, of course, for NDC,
In 2016, they had 19.45% and appreciated to 22%. And these are some of the strong constituencies as far as the Ashanti region is concerned for the MPP. But they dropped in 2020. 2024 or December 7th, they are looking forward to appreciating their gains and in all looking at 85% or targeting 85% in the Ashanti region. And of course, Alfred, the Ashanti region, the MPP hasn't even gotten 77% of votes in the Ashanti, in their stronghold before.
Since 1992.
And now they are targeting 85%.
I see, and so will this door-to-door, this dawn broadcasting and, going to people in their homes to pound fufu with them and all of that help?
Well, some believe that. I mean, if I say some, I'm talking about some of the party executive believe that if it worked for the NDC, then it should work for the MPP.
We'll see how things play out. But these three constituencies that you select tell a story of a trend, a story of that decline. But then again, the fundamental issues that the constituency raise are there. And they are prevalent, as we see now. And as to whether this strategy is also going to give them that level of conviction and satisfaction that indeed their concerns are going to be addressed is one that we wait to see, is it not?
Well, absolutely. So for less than 4 months to the general elections, two major issues bordering the people of the Ashanti region. This is a private sector-driven economic environment. They want to see something done on import duties. And then, of course, infrastructure. For roads development, the MPP is embarking on massive road development as far as the Ashanti region is concerned. But what about certain monumental projects? Of course, I know the Afari Military Hospital is likely to be commissioned next month, barring any last-minute hitch. The last time I went there, they were only working on the sewage system, which for some time has stalled the commission of the project. In fact, the contractor told me that it should be ready before September, so they are assured that that particular facility will be commissioned. So we also know that they were only waiting for that particular facility to be connected to a grid, or a generator had to be set there. I'm also told that they are also working on that. If they are able to do that, well, let's see whether it will change the narrative.
Certainly. And William Evans Sinkum is going to be there to watch all of it unfold. I appreciate your time as always.
Thank you.
William Evans Sinkum is our Northern Bureau Chief here on your Election Command Center across all media journal platforms. Let's go on to an earlier story where the Minority Chief Whip and Member of Parliament for the Adaklo constituency, Governs Kwame Abuja, has issued a stern warning to the Member of Parliament for the Beatrice constituency, Greek Minister Brian Echampon, regarding any attempts to manipulate the upcoming 2024 election results. Speaking at an event in Adaklo, with the NDC flag bearer John Mahama, who is on the voter regional tour there across the region, Governs Kwame Abuja emphasized that the opposition will not tolerate any action that could compromise the integrity of the election process. Let's hear from him.
If anybody in government, we have said it before, Your Excellency, that they are planning to do what they did in 2020 by orchestrating the murder of 8 Ghanaians during an election which has never happened before. I am saying, if you are a security personnel or those being trained by my colleague Bernard Champon and co, at least the boundaries of water region, before you cross with that mindset, be prepared that in self-defense you might become the victim. This is a promise, it is not a threat.
Well, so that's Governs Kwame Abuja there, and that's on the heels of what the National Peace Council has been talking about all the while.
We stay a bit longer on politics, and the flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress, the NDC, John Mahama, is promising to introduce annually a national day of thanksgiving for Muslims and Christians to intercede on behalf of the citizenry. Now, speaking to religious leaders in the whole central constituency during his voter region tour, John Mahama said that his next administration needs serious intercessory prayers from religious leaders. Listen.
Many nations, even though God expects us to work hard to improve our circumstances, also recognize that spiritually you must intercede for God to open the gates for you. And so in the United States, in Zambia, in Congo, in so many countries that I've been to, I've been invited to national Thanksgiving prayers for their nation. And so we intend to introduce annually a national day, of prayer and thanksgiving, so that we will thank God for whatever he's done for us, so that he will do more for us. Because he says, count your blessings, and if you accept and recognize and appreciate what he has done for you, he will do even more for you. And so we'll have a national day of thanksgiving and prayers for both the Christian community and also the Muslim community, so that all of us together will intercede with God to continue to open the doors for Ghana, so that our country would progress and prosper and create better opportunities for our young people and make our nation great and strong.
The former president also asked religious leaders to pray for the spirit of discernment for leaders of the country in decision making.
You make choices every day, and choices have consequences. You make choices It's even more important when you are a leader or president. You must pray for God to give you the sense of discernment, because you have to make decisions and make choices on behalf of the people every day. And the choices you make affect the lives of the people. And so, if God doesn't give you that spirit of discernment, then it makes you make the wrong choices. And when you make those wrong choices, the people suffer. The position of president gives whoever occupies it a huge latitude of discretion to take decisions on behalf of 30 million people. And some of those decisions could be very disastrous, and I can give you examples. If I were president, I would not have closed those 10 banks and thrown 10,000 of my citizens out of work, because we could have saved those banks. You said they should get capital of 400 million Ghana cedis. They should raise their capital reserve to 400 million. So let's even assume times 10 banks. That's 4 billion cedis. And then because they were not able to meet it, not because they were not able to meet it, because you government owed contractors to whom they had given loans. And so if you paid the contractors would have paid the banks, and the banks would have made the 400 million. And yet, you said you've not been able to meet the capital requirement, so we'll shut you down. At the same time, you guarantee the deposits of everybody whose money was in the banks. And the guarantee of those deposits means that you have to refund to Ghanaians an amount of 22 billion cedis.
We'll shortly connect to Komla Kricha, who is following the former president for us. But ahead of that, the former president also spoke about the NPP running mate, Dr. Matthew Opoku-Pempeh. Listen to exactly what he said about him.
And they were humble, going to chop bar, eating with people, eating fufu, pounding fufu. They go to grinding mill and be grinding people's flour. And so Ghanaians said, oh, these are some humble, meek, quiet, respectful, honorable people. And so Ghanaians said, let's give them a chance. And that was the mistake we made. Because they were wolves in sheep clothing. Wolves that had covered themselves with sheepskin. And so Ghanaians thought they were humble lambs, not knowing they were ravenous wolves, waiting to consume the resources that are rightfully for the people of Ghana. But you can't hide arrogance. You can't hide greed. You can't hide dishonesty. They say, if you want to know a person's true character, give him power. After they got the power, we know their true character. today, the running mate for MPP, when they went and introduced him to Otunfo, Otunfo said, "Oh, we brought you up because you are part of the Menchia Palace. And we know we brought you up well. But we hear you are arrogant. We hope that you prove people wrong." As soon as he left there, not up to 3 hours, he went and said, "Mo Kwame Nkrumah no." That's your Kwame Nkrumah. That is a very disrespectful thing to say about the founder of this nation, and especially a founder who is no longer alive. You can insult me because I can respond because I'm alive. But you don't say, in our tradition, you don't say evil things about the dead. You don't disrespect the dead because they are not alive to respond to you. In the past, ghosts were powerful. As he said that Nkrumah's ghost would have knocked him down. But now, the ghosts have all become disarmed. And he can't hide the arrogance. I was just watching a video yesterday, and he was talking about the past president. He said Rawlings, and he said Kufuor, and somehow he even forgot Professor Mills's name. And then he said, "Bakuna Wewuno," that one who died. I mean, how can you talk like this? Very disrespectful, very insulting. Bakuna Wewuno, the one who is dead. Arrogance is like pregnancy. Whatever you do, it will come out. And so we know them for who they are. They cannot repackage themselves again because we know that they are wolves in sheep clothing.
And you heard the former president, who is also flag bearer of the opposition NDC, John Mahama.
Well, this is your Election Command Center. Stay with us as we follow all the campaigns ongoing and bring you updates as we go on every step of the way across all media journal platforms. Your Election Command Center. Later on here on Hot Edition, we'll bring you more on campaign trail. This evening, Member of Parliament for the Ningo Pram constituency, Samuel Nate George, says all is set for a massive protest against the Chief Justice over her indefinite adjournment of the anti-LGBTQ plus bill case before the Supreme Court. The protest set to take place September 17 from the Kwame Nkrumah interchange. We'll see a petition submitted to the Chief Justice to demand a timetable from the Chief Justice for the hearing of the protracted case. According to Sam George, the Chief Justice has become an impediment to the justice delivery in this particular case. He's been speaking to 3FM.
March is a march not targeted at the president but at the Chief Justice. The Chief Justice is becoming an impediment to the justice delivery system in this particular case. And so on the 17th of September, it was supposed to be next week Tuesday, we met with the police yesterday, and the police said because of the voter exhibition process and a few other issues, we should move it forward. So we agreed on the 17th of September. We are going to petition the Chief Justice to give us a timeline for the completion of the case, because we cannot continue to sit back. The Chief Justice cannot determine for herself when and how she will hear the case, because there was a ruling that was supposed to be given on the 17th of July. She came and unilaterally decided to stay that ruling. She cannot impose an injunction on Parliament so moto. It is an abuse of her powers under Article 296 of the Constitution. She's acting arbitrarily, she's acting capriciously and maliciously, and we will take her on for that and hold her to account for that.
Sam George there, and one other concern that he also brought to the fore, it's about the issues of the influence that certain high officers, he says, to embark on this march, which he terms the family values march. Among other things, Sam George says the decision to embark on this protest is a response to the call by the public.
As currently, she's not giving that the national chief imam, His Eminence Sheikh Nuhu Sharabutu, will be influenced by me, his son or grandson. That that the Christian Council, the National House of Chiefs, Numo Belenfo, President of the Osu Traditional Council, who have all endorsed this march, I, Sam George, is influencing them, then I'm more powerful than I know. I'm a handsome man, yes, but I don't sit in parliament because I'm handsome. I sit in parliament because members of the public voted for me and put me there. So I work for them. I am their employee. I respond to their demands and their needs. This march is as a result of a call that has come from the people, and I'm heeding the call of the people.
Sam George there. Among other things, he says the decision indeed is one that he has expressed worry over the manner in which the Chief Justice has been handling provisions under Article 106 of the 1992 Constitution. I'll give you the details of exactly what Article 106 says, but this is Sam George's position on the matter.
As currently, she's not given a timetable. She's adjourned the case sine die, which means it could be in abeyance for 2 years, 5 years. We don't know. This is a case that does not just affect a bill. It affects the working of the legislature and the executive. What the Chief Justice has done is that she has put Article 106 of the Constitution on ice. Article 106.6 enjoins Parliament, when a bill is completed, to transmit same to the President. Article 106.7 to 10 enjoins the President to take certain action in conjunction with the Council of State. The Chief Justice alone has held the hand of the executive and the hand of the legislator. She can't be that powerful. She is not that powerful, and she must remember, people have occupied that office before her, and one day she will be held to account for her actions or inactions.
Samuel Nate George there, and specific reference was made to Article 106.6 of the 1992 Constitution. It reads, and I quote, the report of a committee of Parliament together with the explanatory memorandum to the bill shall form the basis for a full debate on the bill for its passage with or without amendment or its rejection by Parliament. 7 says, where a bill passed by Parliament is presented to the President for assent, that shall signify within 7 days after the presentation to the Speaker that he assents to the bill or that he refuses to assent to the bill, unless the bill has been referred by the President to the Council of State under Article 90 of the 1992 Constitution.
We stay in Parliament, and the member of the House for North Tongue, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, has taken a swipe at the Land Minister Samuel Abujinapo over his denial of sale of state lands to cronies. The minister, responding to the minority's accusation of wanton sale of state lands by the MPP government, yesterday rejected the accusation, saying that most of the lands were handed to private persons to develop in the interest of the state. Now, addressing a news conference in Parliament, the North Tongue MP challenged the minister's stance, accusing government of being complicit in the act. And we'll bring you that quite later. You're still here on Hot Edition on Shri FM and 92.7. Let's bring you some other issues. And the Teacher Trainees Association of Ghana, TTAG, has petitioned Parliament to help resolve the impasse between striking members of the Colleges of Education Teachers Association and the government. CTAG members have been on strike since June 14 in protest against the government's failure to implement arbitral award on approved conditions of service. Now, the strike has halted all academic activities across the 46 public colleges of education, with more than half of the student population vacating campuses. CTAG has refused to back down, following a decision to withhold the salaries of its members. That's July salaries. Now, the teacher trainees, in their petition to Parliament's Education Committee, asked the legislature to, among others, summon the Education Minister without delay. Peter Nochukotoi is a ranking member of that committee that was petitioned earlier today. He joins us live on the line. Good evening to you, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening, and how are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you for asking. How does the Education Committee plan to address this request, and indeed any immediate actions you intend to take? Hopefully you've received this petition you're talking about.
Yeah, thank you very much. As a committee, when the lecturers went on strike in the middle of June, we invited them to meet the leadership of the committee, and they told us their grievances. So on the floor of the House, I raised the issue, and the Speaker directed that the Ministers for Education and Employment should appear before the House to see what they were doing to avert the situation that we find ourselves in now. Now, they did not give us any concrete plan of action to make sure that the demands of the striking teachers were met. So after they had briefed the House, the committee decided to invite the Minister for Education with the Minister for Finance as well as the CITAC leadership so that we could sit down and maybe come out with a roadmap with which the Ministries of Education and Finance can meet the demands of the teachers. Before we could meet, the minister informed us that he had already arranged a meeting with the Minister for Finance and the CITAC, so they were going to meet. They met and nothing came out of it. Well, we have been talking about it in the various media platforms. So we discovered that there was no concrete agreement. The memorandum of agreement they signed, we were told, was not in the interest of the members of CITAC. They did not sign anything. So the long and short of it is that as a committee, we, after seeing the petition of the students, that is the Teacher Trainees Association, we are meeting on Monday, and then we'll take a decision to invite both the ministers and the CITAC leadership to a meeting within the week for the minister to brief us on the way forward. Because we know that the CITAC members have a legitimate demand. The arbitration award was awarded by NLC. So why is government refusing to oblige? The book and research allowances, the arrears, they are due to them. Give it to them. And we were pleading with CITAC that, after the migration, let's take the steps one by one. And within a short time, we should be able to migrate every lecturer to the university salary status. So far, that is what we have been able to do. But the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Education have not lived up to expectation.
You talk about a meeting on Monday, but even ahead of that meeting, as a ranking member on the Education Committee, I'm wondering what you feel about the fact that CITAC has been on strike for 2 months, and it looks like people responsible are just, standing aloof. Meanwhile, before UTAC was formed, when university lecturers were that upset about, their demands, and 21 days after, they closed down the schools and their issues were resolved.
Yes, you see, under the Act that established the colleges of education, we don't have that mandate given to the principals of the colleges to close down the institutions after 21 days of strike action. But that of the universities, they have it. But in this case, it is the Minister of Education through GTEC that can close down an institution. And I know morally the minister will not be able to do it. And what is important to resolve the issue or find a lasting solution is for the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Finance to pay them what is due them. Then the rest of the conditions, I think they can negotiate over a time. But government is not showing any commitment in this matter. So that is the problem. Once government is not showing any commitment, and I realize that nobody is speaking for them. Apart from the Committee on Education, I have not heard any other institution speaking for CITAC. And it is the students who are suffering. How can they be on campus for over 8 weeks, 9 weeks without lectures? So the question is, if the schools are closed down and they come back, who is going to pay for their feeding? For the new timetable that will be drawn for them. So that is where the problem is, and government is not looking at it from that angle.
Fortunately,
so are they going to go away without writing examination, and then that semester will be over? It is not the best. Yeah.
Fortunately, you've got some short-term plans ahead, starting with this meeting you talk about happening on Monday. But in the long term, briefly, what do you think must be done to ensure we don't get to repeat what we're seeing now?
In the long term, we must look at the short term now. If we are able to meet the demands of the lecturers in the short term, which are the pressing ones. One, the arbitration award, pay it. Their book and research allowances, the arrears, pay it. Then release their July salary to them. When you have done that, then the way is open, they can go back. Then we talk about the migration, which can take some time, depending on the audit that will have to be done. So for me, the short-term solution is more important than the long-term solution to the problem. Yeah.
We'll have to end it here. Thank you very much, Peter Nochukotoi, ranking member on the Education Committee of Parliament.
And we've been speaking to the National Secretary of the TUTAC, and they have been making concerns about exactly why, for them are technical university teachers as well, they have concerns that have not been addressed by the National Labour Commission, and if not, they would also resort to the same path that CTAC is taking. We also got information earlier today that members of the Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana have had a meeting with the Vice President, and we're keeping an eye on that, and whatever the details as well, we'll let our listeners get to know of it and how things play out. But yesterday was exactly 2 months that they declared the strike. That's by the Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana, CTAG members. But let's go into issues of agric now. The Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana has accused the Ministry of Agriculture of politicizing the Planting for Food and Jobs Phase 2 program. The association alleges that agitations have been building up, at least in the rank and file of their members, and to the extent that these persons who have been described as party affiliates are selected based on their political affiliations, who provide inputs to only party faithful for political gains. The grant component of the program was designed to also support vulnerable farmers by providing beneficiaries with some input free of charge. But the peasant farmers allege that this has been politicized. Addressing a news conference, the Executive Director of the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana, Bismarck Owusu Norte, called on Parliament to summon the Minister of Food and Agriculture to address the concerns. He's joining us on the telephone right now for a conversation. So, Norte, thank you so much for joining us here on Hot Edition. Why exactly are you saying that this PFJ Phase 2 beneficiaries are only those who are party affiliates of the MPP? Hello?
Yeah, hello, Alfred. Can you hear me?
I can hear you clearly, Mr. Norte.
Great. Good evening and good evening to your listeners. Yeah, indeed, the issues that you raise are issues that we find quite problematic with the way and the manner in which the PFJ 2.0 is being rolled out. If you recall, when the President and the Minister of Food and Agric launched the PFJ 2.0, we were made to believe that the approach of the program was an input credit model, which was relying on the value chain approach. Here, in the case that as a farmer, the only thing you needed was land. And once you have the land, the ministry, through the aggregators, will be able to facilitate for you land preparation services, mechanization, all forms of inputs. Here, I mean seed, I mean fertilizer, agrochemicals, and other inputs on it you need, and other services. Now, about 3 months down the lane, and as we are in the middle of the planting season, the reports that we are getting from our members across the country seems to be one of confusion and one of political interference in the program. Quite recently, we were informed that as part of the PhD, there is a grant component where the ministry or the government was seeking to identify what they call vulnerable people to benefit from the program. So actually, there were two components of the grant. Those who are supposed to be vulnerable to benefit, and then the next group of people who are supposedly the farmers who registered as part of the PFD, those who reselected, and they selected 200,000 farmers from that list. Now, the challenge that we are encountering is that under the grant component, we are told that MPs, DCs have been given allocations to distribute to people they consider families. And that is where we have a problem. Because the issue is that when it comes to agricultural issues in the respective districts, we know that it is the agric directors at the respective districts who are supposed to take charge of that particular directive. And even with the PFD 2.0, the original idea was to have the aggregators, who are private sector people, to lead in the process. So it came as a shock to us that now parliamentary candidates and DCs who are politically exposed persons are now giving quotas for them to go and share to people. The question we are asking is that what criteria are these people going to use? Because if an MP takes the fertilizer, what is the guarantee that he or she is going to do a fair distribution of people who actually need it? And even the other part that goes to the grant, where we are being told is being given to vulnerable people. Our checks indicate that some people who are even benefiting are not vulnerable. Actually, they are connected politically, and that's how come they are getting it. And this kind of thing is causing a lot of agitation among our members all over the country. Because there are instances where they go to the directory, they are told there's no fertilizer. But meanwhile, the fertilizer is being offloaded and being distributed. There are instances where they are told that the fertilizers are not enough, but they see other people are getting them. And there are instances where they are told that the fertilizers that are available does not belong to them. It's for the MP or the DC.
The fertilizer that has been subsidized with the taxpayers' money, they say is for the MP or the DC.
Yes, so the MPs and the DCs have been given specific quotas. There are some instances where they are giving 100 bucks as their quota for both MP and then the DC. And then they will give a near or a meager 15 bucks to the group director to decide who he or she wants to give to. And we find that unacceptable. That as a government program, we always try to ensure that we work through the right channels. And in our cultural sector, we all know that the right channels through which these kind of things are done is through the agric director. So we are just a bit confused. Our members are all over the place, not sure what is going on, and they are worried. And on top of that, Alfred, is the fact that there are some instances where, as we are in the planting season, and farmers have already planted, and in fact they are waiting fertilizers, they are now giving them seeds. Of what use is the seed to the farmer at this time when he or she has planted? So you could tell that it appears that the program itself is losing focus, because that is not the original intent of the program.
Right.
The program was supposed to ensure that the farmers will have access to both input and sales at the right time.
Right.
And as I'm talking to you, the so-called value chain approach that was promised, where as a farmer, all you need was land, and you get everything. That is a fiasco. Because there are a lot of farmers who had land, but they couldn't get any form of farming services. They couldn't get anything. The only kind of support they are getting is seed. So when you're saying that the current PFD 2.0 and Ifia Kutu's PFD 2.0, they appear to be the same. They are both the same studies. There's no difference between them because it's all about input distribution. And even that has been extremely politicized. And that's where we have a problem.
Indeed. We're knocking on the doors of the Agric Ministry to get some responses to this, but I appreciate your time. Besma Kowosanote, Executive Director of the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana. This is Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. We're live on Kesme 107.1 in Tamale and beyond, and also on W93.5 in Wa and beyond. We're back with the business news. Juliana Minuafo. With us.
I wake up early every weekday because of you, to keep you on top of your game. Yeah!
You are at the center of our universe. That's why we make it a duty to serve you only the freshest, hottest news and entertainment. When you want it, where you want it.
Good morning, Ghana, Africa, and the rest of the wonderful world. Welcome to Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. Start your day well informed. Start with us on Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. Catch the all-new Sunrise Morning Show on 3FM 92.7 with me, Johnny Hughes, Helen Obiambofo. Weekdays from 5:55 a.m. to 10 a.m. only on 3FM 92.7.
3FM, your urban lifestyle radio.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to Business Segments on Hot Edition with me, Menu Aful. Coming up, Quantum Group defends its involvement in cylinder recirculation model, insisting its subsidiary New Gas is licensed to distribute filled cylinders nationwide. We'll bring you details of that shortly. Now let's go straight to our first story. Quantum Group has defended the involvement of its subsidiary New Gas in cylinder recirculation model, a government initiative aimed at promoting clean cooking in Ghana. The company clarified that its role is limited to bottling under the initiative, with distribution remaining the mandate of licensed oil marketing companies and liquefied petroleum gas marketing companies. The following 3 Business News Desk report has more.
Quantum Group, along with affiliates Sage and New Gas, has issued a statement to correct media reports alleging that the companies are foreign-owned. According to the release, Quantum and its associated firms are subsidiaries of ARC Holdings, a Ghanaian entity with over 2,000 employees, and have been key players in the petroleum sector since 2009. The group expressed its full support for the cylinder recirculation model, CRM, emphasizing its alignment with Ghana's sustainable development goals, particularly those related to promoting clean cooking solutions. The CRM is designed to shift households from using wood fuels to LPG, reducing deforestation and mitigating health risks. The press release detailed how the National Petroleum Authority, NPA, has instituted a transparent licensing process for companies interested in the CRM. Quantum Group strategically invested in a bottling plant under its New Gas subsidiary, which became operational in late 2023 after years of commitment, including navigating the challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic. Quantum reiterated that bottling plants like New Gas are not involved in the retailing or distribution of LPG, which remains the mandate of oil marketing companies and liquefied petroleum gas marketing companies. The company noted that partnerships with these entities are essential to enhancing LPG distribution and CRM success nationwide.
That was a 3 Business News Desk report. In more stories, the Institute for Fiscal Studies, IFS, is urging presidential aspirants who have promised to abolish the electronic levy, also known as the e-levy, to come up with alternative revenue sources. The IFS argues that Ghana's total domestic revenue to GDP is lower than its peers and can't afford further cuts. The Institute recommends plugging revenue gaps by closing leakages and improving collection to avoid subjecting the economy to more taxes.
When e-levy was introduced, we were not in support of it. IFS over here, because we said no. E-levy on phone transfers cannot be used as a tax. I make my money a salary worker. I'm taxed on it. I'm transferring some to my mother. Just a transfer, a grant, and you're going to tax it again. We thought it was wrong. But now it has come to join our revenue, even it forming part of our revenue, it's not working. If you want to cancel it, you have to have an alternative. Why I was not in support of it initially, and we're still in trouble regarding revenue mobilization, if anyone promises that he's going to cancel it, he should come with an alternative that will plug the hole it will create.
You had a senior research fellow at Institute for Fiscal Studies, Dr. Boache, there. The Food and Beverages Association of Ghana, FABAG, is urging government to remove all duties on essential commodities imported into the country to provide some relief for households. This call comes as soaring food prices have left 2 million Ghanaians food insecure, with 657,000 children under 5 suffering from chronic malnutrition, according to a World Bank report. The association's plea is inspired by the federal government of Nigeria's recent initiative to scrap duties on essential food items as part of its Presidential Accelerated and Stabilization Advancement Plan aimed at tackling Nigeria's rising food inflation.
The Nigerian government has showed the way, and we are expecting that the government will be inspired by the wise and courageous decision that the Nigerian government has taken and take a similar step and be inspired. Let them be encouraged that and take such a similar measure, remove the import duties on essential food items, allow same goods to be imported into the country, protect the goods from being re-exported, and then it will lead to a drastic reduction in food items, particularly essential food items in the market. Because as it is now, the rate at which prices are increasing in the market are just very unbearable. They are really very biting and having a very critical effect on the incomes and the lives of the people. The cost of living is going so very much high that it's affecting the standard of living of the people.
You had the voice of Executive Chairman of Food and Beverages Association of Ghana, John Awuni, there. Well, that's it for the business segment on Hot Edition. For more stories, kindly log on to our website on 3news.com. My name is Minu Afudu. Stay tuned. Bill is on standby with the sports news.
Hello, good evening and welcome to the sports segment here on the 3FM Hot Edition. My name is Billy Shen. On to our first story, former Hearts of Oak and Black Star striker Prince Tego has revealed what he thinks are the problems with the club, the Phobians, in the past 2 seasons. Remember, the Phobians have been struggling. They have battled relegation for 2 seasons running, but narrowly escaped the drop. And Prince Tego believes that the lack of involvement of the legends of the club and also the lack of scouting prowess from the team currently has been the cause of the problems of Hearts of Oak.
The problem we are having is because of the most of the management board that we have now. I think most of them don't really know what they are doing. Because when a team like Hearts of Oak, you have so many legends, that have played in the club. The young boys seeing the legends around the team will motivate them because they have done it before. So whenever they say something, the boys are going to listen. And I think secondly to our scouting is a problem because where Hearts of Oak find me before I joined to do what I did. This generation is, the team, let me put it, the board are not doing that. You understand? Because those times they cast their nets wild to make sure they get players not only in Accra. Do you get it? So if we are depending on this talent without going to look for raw talent outside Accra, it's going to be a problem.
That was Prince Tego there. He spoke to 3 Sports earlier today on the 3FM drive. But still on local football, Kotoko are set to face Mediama in a friendly on Friday. And Mediama has been training very, very well ahead of the fixture. So has Kotoko been in Kumasi. Now, ahead of the game which happens on Friday at the newly built TNA Park in Takwa, Mediama's technical director, Evans Adote, had this to say.
Initially, a slated plan was date was given where to play against ASEC from Africa Sports, I think, or as ASEC, from Côte d'Ivoire on 31st of August. Okay. Suddenly, the date changed. Yeah. Meanwhile, we had planned to start from the low-profile games, medium, and then we come to the higher, pushing us into competition. But suddenly the Kotoko match came up, and Kotoko as a tough opposition, we are not looking at the scoreline. We want to maybe put smile on the faces of our fans, and secondly, we want to make sure the team is ready in the next 2 weeks for competition.
That was Evans Adotide, the technical director of Mediama Sporting Club. Moving on to European football, the Premier League returns on Friday. Manchester United will be in action, and a lot of fans will be eager to see what happens at the end of the season. But before the Premier League begins, we took a look at some key facts on Ghanaian players in the competition. As fans eagerly await the start of the new Premier League season, here are a few things to note about Ghanaian players. Neil Lamte is the first Ghanaian to play in the English top flight, representing Aston Villa in September 1994. Tony Yeboah became the first Ghanaian goal scorer in the competition, where he struck for Leeds United in February 1995. Yeboah finished his PL stint with 24 goals and was surpassed by Jordan Ayew in June 2020. Jordan now has 37 goals. No other Ghanaian has more. The Crystal Palace man also tops the list in appearances with 274, while his club teammate Jeffrey Schlupp has 268. Only Michael Essien, Jeffrey Schlupp and Daniel Amate have won the league trophy in the past. This season, 8 players will feature in the top flight, including Mohamed Kudus, who netted 8 league goals last season, while Leicester City's Abdul Fatawi Shahaku will be making his debut. We wish them all the best. We indeed wish them all the best. And if you are joining us live on Facebook, we have a slide on the Premier League players who are Ghanaians who will be featuring in the competition next season. We have Antoine Semenyo, who has 44 appearances and 9 goals. Thomas Partey has 95 appearances for Arsenal and scored 5. Tariq Lamptey has 89 appearances for Brighton, scored 1. Jeffrey Schlupp has 268 appearances and scored 22 goals. We have Jordan Ayew with 274 appearances, 37 goals. Fatawi Shahaku will be a debutant. Kamaldeen Suleimana has 18 appearances and 2 goals. And Mohamed Kudus has 33 appearances and 8 goals so far. But earlier today, La Liga resumed its league for the 2024-25 season, and currently Athletic Club de Bilbao are playing against Getafe, and the scoreline is 1-0 in favor of Bilbao. Remember, Iñaki Williams is featuring for this club, and the goal was scored by Oyhan Sanset of Athletic Bilbao. Iñaki Williams is still on the pitch with the team, and currently it's the second half, 49 minutes played. But before I do go, let's run through some transfers that has happened today. Ghanaian international Ibrahim Osman has left Brighton on a season-long loan to Feyenoord until July 2025. Now, LA Galaxy have completed the signing of Marco Reus on a 2.5-year deal as he left Borussia Dortmund as a free agent. Now, also, Monaco's Youssef Fofana is on the verge of joining Italian giants AC Milan for 25 million euros on a 4-year contract. Saudi side Al-Qadsiya are closing in on an agreement with Paulo Dybala on a 3-year contract, with talks still ongoing between AS Roma and Al-Qadsiya. Also, Porto's Evan Nilsson has travelled to England in order to complete his move to Bournemouth. The Brazilian will join for a 37 million euro fee with a potential 10 million euro fee in add-ons for next season with Bournemouth. And that brings an end to the sports segment here on the 3FM Hot Edition. My name is Billy Shen, and of course, Beatrice and the rest of the team are on standby with more.
Thank you very much, Billy Shan, for bringing us the latest in sports. And this is still Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. Welcome to Campaign Trail. On Campaign Trail tonight, we start from the camp of the governing NPP, and barring any unforeseen circumstances, the governing New Patriotic Party will launch its 2024 manifesto on Sunday, August 18, 2024. Preparations are far advanced for the event, slated to come off in Takoradi in the Western region. Now, you may recall that an 11-member committee has been tasked to see to a successful manifesto launch. Let me just remind you a little bit. The committee comprises of Madam Oboshisai Kofi, who is chairperson, Henry Nana Boache, member. Also, we have Fatih Abubakari, also a member. She's currently the information minister. Also, Kejemfua, member, and Dennis Miracles Boaje, member, as well as Anthony Carbo. So, with just 2 days to go, how are things shaping up for the launch? Let's speak to the Western Regional Communications Officer for the NPP, Issa Fuseni. Good evening to you, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening.
How ready are you to host this major event in your region?
Yeah, first of all, let me greet you and greet your cherished listeners. Western region preparations are far advanced. The party is putting up measures to make sure that the program is successful. So we commenced advanced preparation since yesterday, making sure that grounds are fertile. We went to the grounds where the program will take place, and that is Ghana Secondary Technical School, GSTS in Takoradi. The auditorium is well reserved. The park that is supposed to also address the gathering is also there. Other preparations like making what we call a visibility to make sure that our flags are flagged all over. The organizers are working towards that. We have arranged for police security, and the regional executives, the regional secretary, that's our general secretary, has written to the police people to give us maximum security. So here, everything is set. And what we have to do is we are trying to organize ourselves to have bold solutions keep it on Saturday morning to commence the program. So that will start from Fijai Junction, that will lead us to Paipano, and then we'll move to Pali Road, where we'll have to curve to Fourth Boot, and we'll end it at Fikuma Police Park. So that will be the first phase of the launching of the manifesto. Then the second day we'll go to GSTS, and then the program will commence from there.
2 days to this event, are you able to give us an idea of, for instance, what will be the priority of this within this manifesto that we should all expect?
Well, you know, the first letter that the flag bearer gave at UPSC gave us the bold solutions to the future. So I don't know the title of the manifesto now because I'm not part of the manifesto committee. And I don't know what it entails until the day that they are going to unveil the mask, so that we can see what is in the manifesto. For now, I cannot speak to the manifesto because I'm not part of the committee. But what I can say is that it's going to give us solutions to whatever problems that this country is facing.
We'll have to end it here. Thank you very much, Issa Fuseni. He speaks for the governing New Patriotic Party in the Western region. We stay on politics because the Executive Secretary of the Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana, Samson Asaki Awingobit, has declared his candidacy for the national chairmanship position of the People's National Convention, PNC, in the party's upcoming internal elections. Now, the election is scheduled to take place on Saturday, 31st August 2024. Samson Asaki Awingobit once contested as the PNC's parliamentary candidate for Ashaiman in 2008 and ran for the party's flag bearership in 2020, where he emerged as the runner-up to David Apasara. He joins us live on the phone now. Mr. Awingobit, what motivated you to run for the national chairmanship of the PNC at this time? Because I remember earlier, just months ago, when you spoke to us, you said you were going for the flag bearership slot. Okay, we seem to have... Okay, let's try again. Hello, Mr. Awingobit, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Wonderful. So I was asking you earlier about what motivated you to take up this position, because earlier when you spoke to us, you said you were going for the flag bearership slot.
Well, thank you very much. And let me say a very big good evening to your charity viewers. I am quite strongly believing that, yes, it is true that in 2020 I contested the flag bearership of the People's National Convention Party. But in 2024, prior to 2024, I think early January, I stated that if the party should open nomination, I would go ahead to pick on to contest the party presidential candidate. Fast forward, in consultation with my team and further party functionaries in the country, I realized that my very senior colleague, Honorable David Apasara, and myself, my sisters are from one region. And for that matter, if we are contesting for a presidential candidate, we should be able to have a home region support. And so being the two of us at the same region, I think it will not be well for us. At least an elder at home will definitely have to advise his two children that, look, please can one step down for the other, because for that mutual respect. So, and besides that, he happened to also be my in-law, where my wife is coming from. And so I put all this into consideration. I realized that, okay, so I still need to contribute to the party. What can I do? And I realized that the party needed a very affable, a very energetic, a very exuberant, fresh blood person to take over the leadership of the party in terms of national chairman. Because when I sat down and I look at all in this country and I look at all those who want to contest the national chairmanship position, I realized that if we make that mistake and do not put ourselves to such a leadership position and allow this current crop of leadership that we know to go and become presidential candidate and become the national chairman of the party, then the party spirit is gone, so dead and gone.
You're talking about...
So I was motivated to say, look, Awingobit is a marketer. Awingobit is a unifier. Awingobit has a charismatic spirit. Awingobit is a doable person. Awingobit will need to take up this party immediately and then rebrand the party, repackage the party to make it attractive. As we speak now, the PNC as it's now, until yesterday when I took the form to contest. And when my colleague Bernard Mona also took his form to contest, or when he declared to contest the election, that was only where we had PNC in the media.
So for the sake of time, let me ask you what strategies you've got in place, because you're kind of, in your own words, disqualifying the others who are desiring to occupy this position. And above all, you say that you're very vibrant. Let's hear the strategies you have to help your own party.
The party faithful rank and file across board know what I put in place during 2020 when I wanted to contest the party flag bearership. I was able to make the party name heard and visible everywhere in the top corner of this country. Same thing, if I become the national chairman today, I will be able to reach out to the left and breadth of this country as I did in 2020. I will be able to go and then appeal to those who have left the party one way or another because of past and current leadership have caused wounds in them, and because of that, they feel aggrieved and they've left the party. We will bring them back to rebuild the party. We will repackage the party and reposition the party to say that it will attract Ghanaian youths and Ghanaian men and women. In fact, PNC used to be the third first party. As we speak today,
we cannot speak that same song driving home. I strongly believe that if Awingobit is being elected as the next national chairman of the political party, we will use the 4 years to rebuild it from the grassroots to the regional consensus level to the regional level, and to make sure we put the spirit of the Dr. Hilary Imam back to work as PNC used to be one of the third political party. That's my aim. And I strongly believe that if Awingobit is given the nod, and as I said, just yesterday, when I took the form, till today, media people are discussing it. That is the way to go. Then people will be asking, who is this Awingobit? Where is he going to take the PNC to? What is his vision? What are his strategies? My strategy is that I am going to work with all rank and file in the party. I am going to make sure that I'm going to listen to all the next executive that will be elected to appear the affairs with me, and I'm going to make sure that we will not sit down in Accra. And when every 4 years come, they'll come back and say, we are sorry, but vote for us. We will do better. No. Under Awingobit leadership, we can't be sitting in Accra. We will move to the regions. We will go and encourage them. We will do reorganization of the party. I can trust, and we will put the party attractive. And we will reactivate the party communicated. And we will reactivate the party structure so that at least in every corner in the sector, economic sector, and look, trust me, if I will become the next chairman of the party, we will see, we will make submission, we will be interested in national discourse.
And you heard Samson Asake Awingobit. He is the Executive Secretary of the Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana. We'll have to end the interview there. And that'll be it for Campaign Trail here on Hot Edition on Shri FM 92.7. And that's it for Hot Edition on Shri FM 92.7. My name is Beatrice. Thank you very much for joining us today. I did this with Alfred Ocansey. Log on to 3news.com for more news. Have a good evening and do enjoy the rest of our programs.